flying a little bit too high overhead, and there might be tinted windows there. But this driver just seems content to stick at it now down to 39 miles an hour, low speeds here, working to the west on the 91, going through Berkhurst. That's right. We kind of saw that merge from an on-ramp there, that vehicle kind of surprised by the pursuit coming up behind them. Luckily, they slowed down. But it looks like we're hugging the more right-hand lanes right now, which would indicate we could possibly not be getting on the 5 freeway. And then they do have the option of going north or south. So we'll see what happens here. Here's that first merging area. Still continuing westbound on that 91. A few more seconds where that driver can make that kind of plunge over there onto the 5, but it looks like now we're committed on the 91 westbound, going into the Fullerton area. And this is good for us up here, as now we don't have to worry about the Disneyland TFR and staying out of that airspace. But it is just a straight shot down here to the 91. Now we're going to run into the 710, the 605, and then as we continue westbound, just straight into LA until the 91 ends down at about the 405. But this driver just content on hugging that number 1 lane, still about 30 miles an hour. And you can see how bright it is here. Just a lot of lights in this interchange of the 5 and the 91 freeway. But Highway Patrol still right there on the driver's tail, keeping back a little bit. And that's just for officer safety for the most part. If the driver were to slam on their brakes or something like that, if they're too close, that could cause a problem. But now we have some traffic coming from that feeder lane from the 5 freeway that now they're going to have to kind of stop and prevent from getting too close to the suspect vehicles, because like we were saying earlier, they don't know what's going on inside that vehicle, and they don't want the public to get involved by mistake, and sometimes having those feeders and stuff put people in danger as they get close to the vehicle. It looks like we are. We're getting off at about Beach Boulevard here in the Buena Park area. This is the first time we've seen it get off the freeway since we got overhead. But a spike strip is an option. A pit maneuver, especially at these speeds, starts to become a reality. And now it's just a moment where those officers can kind of put that into effect if they get that permission. But like we've talked about before, pit maneuvers can be a little delicate in their use. If they know something about this driver that we don't, they're going to try to keep the officers and the public safe, and they might prevent that. U-turn here at Orangethorpe and Beach, and it looks like we're coming up to a stop. And nope, here we go, continuing on. But this might be a good shot for us to kind of look in that driver or the front windshield. It looks pretty foggy in there. We can't even see the driver much. It looks like the actual sunshade is up, and just peeking through that driver or through the windshield there, just missing that curb as they are trying to merge onto the freeway. But it looks like now we're going to be still kind of avoiding the freeway here, southbound Beach from the 91 now. And this is going to be going down towards Knott's Berry Farm, if you're familiar with the area, and that kind of entertainment district. But very erratic driving now that we're on the surface streets. and speeds are still going about 50 miles an hour, which is actually a bit faster than we saw on the freeway. And we'll just have to continue to watch what this driver suspect does as we continue southbound. But you can see that sunshade up in that driver window blocking all the view other than what looks like a little hole to the left for that driver to see. And that might explain some of those erratic driving. But a very dangerous situation now that we're on those surface streets going at these speeds with that erratic driving. Coming up on a red light, we'll see what happens here. And now we're at La Palma and slowing down for the light, stopping at the light, holding a little bit back, which is interesting. And we'll just have to see what happens here. So very interesting situation here. CHP right on the suspect's tail right now. That driver still disobeying their command for him to pull over and yield. And now we're still continuing southbound Beach. And this is going to be Knott's Berry Farm that we're passing right now, and 50 miles an hour now. And what they might be considering doing now is getting those outlying agencies, those agencies here that this is their jurisdiction to take over the pursuit. But the California Highway Patrol right now saying we're going to stay in it. And we're gonna follow this suspect until we can take them into custody or get someone else in here too. But right now it seems like the CHP is going to continue with the pursuit. We haven't heard anything. The air unit as well as the ground units are having a struggle seeing inside that vehicle as well. So that makes you wonder what that suspect's maybe trying to hide with putting that sunshade up. It's a very strange choice, especially at night. But now we're stopped here again on Beach. And this is going to be the fourth time the suspect has done this, but back door open, so we must have a passenger in the vehicle. We're going to hold a little wider of a shot just to see what happens, and it looks like the passenger's getting out and the driver's going to continue. So the primary unit in the pursuit is going to continue on that pursuit. One of those backup units is going to go and detain that driver for further questioning and see what's going on. But the pursuit continues now, speeding up now to about 50 miles an hour southbound Beach coming up on Lincoln Avenue. So there you go. That answered your question, Micah. We had at least one other person in the vehicle. We'll see if there are any others. Usually if there's someone in the back, there's bound to be a passenger in the front as well. But still very erratic movements by this driver, stopping and going. But the time's on the officer's side. They're not going anywhere. They can get more units if they need to. And then when this pursuit comes to an end, they have the position of advantage, and they have the ability to wait out the suspect till they get out of the vehicle. So there's no real worry about the officers getting tired or having to back off for that reason. But if we might see as we continue southbound on Beach here, maybe they get a unit involved to do a pit maneuver or a spike strip just due to the consistency of this driving now. But the driver's still continuing to follow most traffic signals and following those green and red lights for the most part, other than, stopping in the intersections randomly. Southbound number 2 lane through Orange now here on Beach. And this can take the driver all the way down to the ocean if they continue on this path. And that would take a while, but it doesn't seem like this driver is really worried about going too fast anywhere at those low speeds, that's for sure. But you see 3 units still in this pursuit. Another unit was, I'm sure, stopped and picked up that passenger. And what they can do with that passenger now that they have that passenger detained is kind of get a better idea of what's happening in that vehicle, what the state of the driver is, why they're running, what might be the reason or what might be the reason, or why they could get him to stop, or how they could get him to stop, something like that. So that passenger now becomes a good source of information for those officers on the ground and in the air as this pursuit continues southbound Beach, coming up on about Lynn Rose here back in the city of Anaheim. And I'm sure the city of Anaheim is well aware of this pursuit coming through their jurisdiction, and they're probably responding to the area to assist, say the driver gets out and runs. Now the driver looks like they're going to be holding out a piece of paper or a sign, that window coming down for the first time. It almost looked like they're holding up a license plate, and now that I look at the vehicle a little closer, Mike and Cher, that vehicle is missing a rear license plate. So while we don't know the exact one, other than that the vehicle was being stopped for or a failure to yield, it looks like the license plate's missing and it's just been tossed from the vehicle. So all those different things that are thrown from the vehicle are picked up by the officers in the pursuit as they are evidence. So there's going to be an officer that stops and picks that up as well at Beach at about Cerritos now, coming into Stanton. Doors open. And doors closed again. It's hard to say from this view, Cher, but if we continue forward here when we can, yeah, we'll try to see. But just from, like you said, Cher, you have a bigger monitor than me, but I think that it's still there. So that driver's just peeking through that top left corner of the windshield to view the roadway, which is very, very dangerous. You lose all your peripheral vision. You can't see cross traffic. You can't see pedestrians. And that's really very, very dangerous, especially on these more busier roads that we see down here, like Beach Boulevard, here at Katella, which are both very, very well-known intersections here, or streets here in Orange County. You can see that officer that was stopping traffic, that's called Code 100. And what they do, and we can see on the right side of your screen, that passenger getting out of the vehicle and walking over to the curb, that passenger being detained after the pursuit continued. But officers are in the area and they are stopping traffic. They are here and ready to assist if the suspect were to get out and run. But the pursuit continues southbound Beach through Katella, and this has been a very, very strange pursuit for us here in Sky 5. The slow speeds, the erratic driving, that sunshade up, we don't see that very often, but it does happen from time to time, and that just makes you wonder what the mindset of that driver is. What are they trying to hide, or what state are they in? Why do they think that that's a safe way or a good way to drive? And why aren't they stopping for the police too? These are all questions that both us here at the station, as well as those California Highway Patrol officers from the Santa Ana Division, are trying to figure out right now as this pursuit continues southbound on Beach, coming up on La Monte here in Stanton. Just sorry, Cher. We just saw a spike strip be deployed, so we'll see if that made any impact on the suspect vehicle. But that spike strip was deployed. That officer pulling it away before those CHP units were able to run over it as well. Hazards on here as we continue southbound Beach through about Lamson now, but it did look like that vehicle did run over the spike strip. We'll have to watch those tires as this pursuit continues southbound. But very strange movements as the pursuits continued, very slow speeds on that 91 freeway, slowing down traffic to a point where cars were being held back on that 91. Probably a few hundred cars stuck behind the pursuit. It got off on Beach. Went northbound for a second, did a U-turn, and multiple random stops. That sunshade in that windshield, that driver just peeking through the corner of it, and then a passenger was actually. The driver stopped at one point, and that passenger got out of the back of the vehicle and just walked over to the curb as if almost like nothing happened. But the CHP Santa Ana Division still continuing this pursuit. Driver getting a little more free with their driving all the way over to that number 4 lane. Almost looked like they were going to consider going on the 22 to the west, but decided at the last moment not to. But CHP still on the tail. Multiple units, more than just those 3 are in the pursuit now. I think we saw like 4 or 5 when that spike strip occurred. But here coming up on the 22, we'll see if the driver continues southbound. So it looks like we're just content on going southbound on on Beach here. We were content on the 91 freeway earlier, and we'll continue southbound here and pretty much come towards Huntington Beach now. We're in the area of Garden Grove right now, but Huntington Beach is going to be the next big city that we get to, and right there at Huntington Beach and Terabella is the 405 freeway, so we'll see if the suspect decides to do anything else there, but very slow speeds down in the 20s again. This would actually be that kind of prime territory for a pit maneuver, spinning a little bit there as we went into that driveway, and that could be the loss of traction from those spike strips that we saw earlier. We haven't heard or nothing's been confirmed about a successful spike strip. Looking at those tires, they still look pretty inflated, but now we can't see that driver's side, so maybe there's something going on there. But now into a shopping center here in the Westminster area. We'll see what happens here. And this is a very dangerous situation as well, Mike and Cher, because now you're putting shoppers and other individuals in danger who are just trying to stop and get their groceries for the evening. But now onto the sidewalk, going into Walmart here, and it looks like suspect white with green pants running into that into that Walmart there with a black beanie. But the CHP have a good description of that suspect right now. Walmart is sure to have cameras, and what they'll end up doing now is set up a perimeter around this Walmart here, and then look for that suspect on those cameras and apprehend him now. But the question comes is, we saw the suspect in one pair of clothes. Is the suspect going to go in and take off that hoodie or sweater or something like that? But that's where those security cameras that all these big department stores have will assist. But it looks like we even have employees coming out telling them that the suspect went inside. But the CHP are going to take it slow. Time is on their side for the most part. Of course, they want to keep the public safe, but they're going to set up their perimeter and decide the best tactic to take this suspect into custody here at Walmart, just off of Beach Boulevard, 13,000 block of Beach Boulevard here in Westminster. Yeah, now they're setting up that perimeter, Mike and share. They have units that are surrounding the Walmart building here. You can see that, well, it looks like to be an employee from the store talking to those officers there. But I'll pull out to a little bit wider of a shot for you, and you can just see all of those Code 3 lights and sirens around the Walmart right now. And what they're going to do is check all those doors, the different exits, the emergency exits that the shopping center is going to have, and prevent anyone from leaving those, because that is a good option for a suspect who's trying to escape. But it looks like we have assistance from what looks to be Westminster here as well, who are going to help with this perimeter and suspect search. But like you were saying, Mike and Cher, the Walmart's going to have a lot of cameras, as well as there's going to be plenty of witnesses with how busy that parking lot is and what the employees that are going to be able to assist in identifying that suspect. You can now see officers approaching that vehicle once again, and they're just looking for possible additional clues, additional evidence, as well as just making sure that that vehicle is safe to be sitting there. Probably going to clear the trunk at some point too, but it's just a matter of time until they locate that suspect who's taken the CHP on a pursuit for nearly, well, it was nearly about 40 minutes since we started it, and just taking them right on a journey throughout the Southland, from the Inland Empire, where we picked it up right at the border of Riverside County and Orange County, all the way down here to Westminster here at Beach Boulevard. It looks like they are detaining a suspect. I don't know if it's the same suspect, a little different clothing description than what we saw the suspect wearing going into the store, but they have some reason to believe that this person is involved, or possibly the suspect. You can see multiple police agencies here, both CHP as well as the local agencies, even a canine unit here detaining the suspect at the corner of Trask and Descanso here, and it looks like we're right at the Westminster Gateway Mall, right off of Beach, 13,300 block of Beach, and so one suspect or potential suspect detained now, but that doesn't mean that they aren't still looking. They're going to review that security footage, track the movement of that suspect as they went into the store, just to confirm that they have the right person here at this intersection right on the corner here. Yeah, and like that's the thing with a big box store like this, or a department store, is there's plenty of clothes in there that the suspect could change if they had the time to. But the officers are pretty good at identifying that. One of the things they have different things that they look for on the suspect that often they forget to change. So it's possible that they noticed something like shoes or glasses or a beanie or something that might not be the first choice in changing. If you're going to go in and like change a sweater or something like that, that's really easy to put on and take off. But they do have that suspect detained. It looks like they have him in cuffs. Those officers kind of getting a little more relaxed in their posture. Even some of those units backing off from the front of the store. So it is possible that they believe that is the suspect. You can see all the lights from all those units that were surrounding the store kind of turning off. But now they're setting up the crime scene. This vehicle is a part of a crime. It failed to yield. And racked up a whole bunch of other charges along the way, I'm sure. But they have set up that crime scene tape. Now they're going to have to fingerprint it and just to make sure that there's no other evidence that they've missed. And you can see that a crime scene tape is there to hold the public back, which is actually pretty close to this for being a termination of a pursuit. And that just makes it a little more sure that they seem that they have the right individuals, as they are even letting what looks like the public, those customers, those staff members of Walmart outside of that crime scene. So it looks like this may be breaking down, and that the police officers here are content that they have found the right person. That's right. That suspect going into the Walmart. The CHP was quick to respond, though, and they did set up that perimeter, so that could be a part of why they're able to apprehend this person of interest you see here. It is the Westminster Police Department that is assisting in this now investigation. You can see their units here. Large crowds actually developed due to this event. Probably a lot of those shoppers and people that were in that parking lot when this came to an end, but luckily this is a pretty static situation. They have someone detained. They still have their perimeter set up as I look out the window of Sky 5. And they're not going to really let that down until they're able to confirm that they have the right individual. Look at that footage. Look at or talk to witnesses, talk to maybe even that passenger, like you were saying, Mike and Cher, and really identify who that driver was. They have a lot of eyes that were on that suspect when they left that vehicle, that's for sure. So they're gonna take their time this evening as we are in the 11 o'clock hour now, and really make sure that they have that right individual and they don't have anyone dangerous still left outstanding. Yep. Okay, I'll keep you posted if I hear or see anything. You want to orbit or? Okay, cool. Oh, that's not surprising.